My name is Kate Montgomery, and I'm a Lexis research consultant. This video is going to teach you the best way to conduct and carry out your legal research. Whenever you receive a new research assignment, you should start by discovering the subject matter, jurisdiction, and deadline. For our purposes, let's say our client thinks that her employer is violating equal pay laws in Louisiana. She states that she earns, on average, 20% less than her male colleagues. You need to research and write a brief on this topic due by the end of the week. From this description, we know the issue we need to research is equal pay claims in Louisiana and that our deadline is coming up soon. So let's get started. No matter what topic you are researching, the research process will remain the same. You will start with secondary sources, then move to primary authority, then make your research using a citator. You can use this strategy on every research assignment you receive in law school and even in your future practice. To begin your research, you can enter terms into the search bar to find secondary sources and primary authority on your topic. There are two different search methods that you can use: natural language searching and terms and connectors, or Boolean searching. Let's start with natural language because you already know how to use the search method. Natural language is how you search on Google or other internet search providers. You can enter a question, phrase, terms, whatever it is you're looking to find. So for example, I could enter equal pay claims and hit search. Viewing the category menu at the top left of the page, you can see that this search has retrieved secondary materials, cases, statutes, and more on this topic. Natural language searches are easy to do, but will often result in a large number of results. To help you out on each category page, your results will automatically be ranked by relevancy. Next, we'll go over how to use terms and connectors or Boolean searching to narrow your results. I'll click on Lexis Plus to go back to our home screen. Terms and connectors on Lexis Plus allow you to craft targeted searches for specific terms, often in a specific order or a specific proximity to one another. Creating a terms and connectors search helps you quickly get the results you need. There are three connectors that you will use very frequently in online legal research: or, and within. We will focus on these three connectors, but let's take a quick look at all available connectors. You don't need to memorize the connectors because you can quickly access them on Lexis Plus by clicking Advanced Search beneath the search bar. On this page, you'll find top terms and connectors listed on the right. Feel free to click on View All Connectors and Commands to see a complete list of possible commands you can use. Or is our broadest connector, finding documents that contain one term or the other. For example, we would want to search for documents that contain gender or sex. The and connector requires that both terms are mandatory in the document. For example, we could add and equal pay. We can narrow even further using the within command. The within command followed by any number allows you to place your search terms within a certain proximity of each other. For example, I could change and to within 25, and that would find equal pay within 25 words of gender and sex. I now have a good terms and connector search to run, but before I run this, I do want to point out that we have templates available under Advanced Search. To use our templates, simply fill out the template, then click Add, and the system will automatically formulate an expert terms and connector search for you. At the top of the page, you'll see the search terms that were used. Then to the right of those terms, you will see the search tree icon. If you click that icon, you will get a visual representation of your Boolean search, i.e. how it was run and how each term and connector affected the search. From here, you can see if each one of these terms had been run by themselves, you would have received thousands of results. By adding the connectors, particularly the within connector, we narrowed the search significantly. Now you would go through the research strategy we talked about before. You'd start with secondary materials, then move to primary authority such as cases, statutes, and regulations. Then you'd validate your research using Shepard's. So let's check out secondary sources first. To the left of our results list, you'll find filters that'll help you easily narrow your results to find the best, most relevant documents for your research. For example, we would want to use the jurisdiction filter to filter to Louisiana state materials. We now have secondary materials on our topic from our jurisdiction, and you could continue to use post-search filters to narrow down our results. For instance, we can use the search within results feature to search through the Louisiana results list for documents that contain additional terms. For example, let's search for the words wage and discrimination. This tells Lexis Plus to search for results that contain both the word wage and discrimination from our Louisiana results page. As we've already mentioned, anytime that you are researching a new legal concept, it is important to start with secondary materials. Secondary sources provide background information, trends, analysis, as well as links to important primary sources on your topic. Secondary materials are the best starting point for any research assignment. There are several types of secondary sources available on Lexis Plus, including law review and journals, treatises and guides, jurisprudence, and more. Select a secondary source content type to narrow your results. For example, I will go ahead and select treatises and guides. Treatises are a great place to start because they are written by experts in the field and are updated frequently, so I know I'm getting valid and current information from them. When we scroll through our results list, we have narrowed down our search to find what will likely be a very useful secondary source for our project. Labor and Employment in Louisiana, a guide to employment laws, regulations, and practices. Once we click on the result and go through it, we will likely find background information and the pertinent statute, namely the Equal Pay for Women Act, and a list of Louisiana cases relevant to our topic. This is going to provide us a big jumpstart on our research. If you'd like to take a look at the entire source, you can always go to the heading section and click on the source title. From here, we can either search the documents in the source, we can search the table of contents of the secondary source, or we can come up to the 3 vertical dots next to the title and get all source documents to view everything at once. From our selected result, you have a series of delivery options in the top right-hand corner. You can save to a folder, print, email, or download the source. I recommend organizing your work in folders. To do this, select the folder icon and either select a folder you've recently created or choose a folder to choose from all your folders you've ever created or to create a new folder. If you end up creating a new folder, you'll be prompted to title it and then you'll select Create. In addition to saving documents and even searches to your folders, you can highlight and annotate documents right within Lexis Plus as well. To highlight or annotate a portion of the document, simply scroll over the desired section and select Annotate or Highlight. If you'd like to do both, I recommend highlighting the desired text first, because Lexis will then prompt you to add annotations when you click on it. You can always delete the highlighted text if so desired as well. Before we move on from secondary sources, let's go over another way to find them. I'll click on Lexis Plus to go back to the home screen. You can locate state secondary sources by using Explore. In Content tab, select Secondary Materials. You can even start directly in treatises and guides or law review and journals as well. I'll go ahead and select secondary materials for our purposes. Once selected, you can select your desired state and select your source or begin searching all state sources. So for our prompt, we would click Louisiana and either search individual sources or search them all here. You now know the best research strategy and search methods on Lexis Plus, including how to run a natural language search, a terms and connector search, how to use filters to narrow your search, how to annotate and save your work, and how to find state secondary sources. Now let's cover how to find cases, statutes, and court rules. Before we move on, I'm going to slightly switch up our assignment. Our client believes that her employer is violating the Illinois Equal Pay Act because she, on average, makes 20% less than her male colleagues. Since this time the jurisdiction is Illinois, we will need to find Illinois state primary materials. To find pertinent case law, we can either use a natural language or Boolean search. Let's go ahead and use a search we ran from before. Gender or sex within 25 of equal pay. When we run the search, our results will automatically default to case law. On our results list, you'll see that each of the search terms have been assigned a unique color. Then these colors display in a bar within each search result. This bar is called the search term map. You can quickly scan your cite list using this bar to find where and how your search terms are being used right within the document, saving you tons of time. To narrow down our results, we will use post-search filters again, like we did for secondary sources. For our purposes, let's go ahead and select Illinois state cases. Once we review our results list and we find a case that we like, we can also use headnotes to further our research. I'll go ahead and click into a case and take us to the headnote section now. Please keep in mind, do not solely rely on headnotes to understand the contents of an entire case. Headnotes are verbatim legal key points of the case direct from the language of the court. Please keep in mind that the verbatim aspect of Lexis headnotes is different from Westlaw. Once you've read the headnote in the context of the case and you'd like to find other cases with similar headnotes, click on More Like This Headnote to run a search. Once you do this, Lexis will pull key language from that headnote to run a search for other cases that use that same key language. And your headnote will always be listed above the results list here so that you can refer to it again. After you find case law, another thing you can do on Lexis Plus is find court rules. To do this, we're going to go back to Explore Content. And we will go to the State tab. Once you click on the State tab, you can click on your desired state. For us, it is Illinois. And then we will scroll through the different sources on the states page. And we will find Illinois local, state, and federal court rules. And we can click on this and begin our search. Again, we can either search all documents in the source, the table of contents in the source, or we can pull all source documents right from the three dots next to the title. Another way you can find this source and other sources on Lexis Plus is by directly typing it into the search box. So I will go ahead and type Illinois court rules. And you'll see that our word wheel will suggest that we select this source right here. Now that we have our court rules, let's look for relevant state statutes. Again, we can find statutes in a few ways. First, we can use natural or Boolean search logic to search through the statute and legislation category on Lexis Plus. We can narrow our research by using post-search filters like we did for case law and secondary sources to find what we need. In our case, we can begin by retrieving the statute in question right from the search bar. You can type the citation or the name of the law right in the search bar to retrieve it. So I will go ahead and start typing the name of the act, Illinois Equal Pay Act. As you can see, the word wheel will pull the document for us, just like it did for court rules. Another way to find statutes, if you were paying close attention before, is Explore Content. You can either click on Content and select Statutes and Legislation, or State and select Illinois and go through the state's page on statutes and legislation. Now that you know how to find pertinent primary sources, let's go over how to make sure they're still valid. When you make legal arguments in your writing, you must cite to strong, valid precedent to make your case. Let's go back to one of our case law results to take a look at a Shepard's report. Once you find a case that you want to use or cite in your research, it is important to validate that authority to ensure it remains strong precedent, or in other words, that it's still good law. You will do that on Lexis Plus by Shepardizing any authority that you plan to use in your research. On any case law cite list, you'll see Shepard signals next to each case name. For example, the Maurer case displays possible negative history. We can click on this symbol to view the full Shepard's report. Let's start by looking at all available Shepard signals using the legend. The red stop sign indicates strong negative history for a case. When you see this, you need to stop and Shepardize the case because something within the case has been overturned or overruled. In other words, a portion of this case is no longer good law. The orange Q means that a portion of the case has been questioned. It's still technically good law, but you will want to look further to see what part of the opinion courts are questioning. The yellow triangle means that the case has possible negative treatment, usually indicating that the decision has been criticized or distinguished. Green indicates that the case is good law, meaning it has been routinely followed or affirmed, And lastly, a blue symbol means that the case has been cited in another opinion in a neutral manner. Let's take a closer look at the Maurer report. We now know this symbol indicates that the validity of the case has been criticized or distinguished, so we would want to take a look into that further. At the top of the page, you can access citing decisions, other citing sources, history, and the table of authorities. The Citing Decisions tab lists all the cases that have cited to the Maurer case. At the top of the page, you'll find a graphical display of all the citing decisions so that you can quickly view where the negative history is coming from. You can use this graph or the filters on the left to narrow your report. The next tab on the Shepherd's report contains other citing sources. This page contains a list of secondary sources, court documents, and more that cite to Maurer. The Other Citing Sources page is a helpful collection of information that can be used to expand research and assist with legal writing. The History tab provides a list of any subsequent or appellate history links for the case. And finally, the Table of Authorities tab lists all of the authorities cited to within the Maurer case. Remember, citing decisions cover what cases have cited to your selected case, and the Table of Authorities lists the authorities your selected case relies upon. Now you know how to use a citator to confirm your case is still good law. Thank you for tuning into today's session, and if you have any questions about what I went over, please feel free to reach out to me at caitlin.montgomery@lexisnexis.com. You spell my name Katlyn. Thanks for listening.